Welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I help private practice owners align their business back with their soul's calling, with their big vision and with their soul's purpose. Unlike other private practice coaches, I've traveled the world in search of spiritual resources, spiritual tools, education and information so that you can have the transformation that your soul desires and needs so that you can up-level your business. How much fun is this? I love it so much. Guys, if you're not already a member of the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group, please check out the show notes. I would love for you to be there. In the meantime, thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Private Practice with Soul. I am so pleased to welcome all of our new subscribers and listeners, and thank you to everybody who's been listening and downloading. And I hope that you're really enjoying some of the content. Today, I wanted to share with you something that's very woo. So if you're not somebody who's into the woo, you might want to click out of this podcast now. For those of you who do like to go down the spiritual rabbit hole, stay with me because I want to share with you something that I've recently, been working with and had an experience with, because it ties in really nicely with some of the work that we do in the private practice method in terms of cultivating intuition, connecting with your higher power or higher consciousness or higher self or, spirit, whatever you use to refer to that kind of energy. You know what I'm talking about there. And this is just something that's really, 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 really beautiful. So as you know, for a long time, I've been interested in spirituality, but I've really been studying it more and more deeply over the last, say, 3 years. And I'm just so obsessed with it. And one of the things that I've been always curious about, but I never really believed in it, was this whole idea of guides. I didn't believe in it. I couldn't connect to it. I didn't understand it. I didn't know how it worked. And I'd had some, not fantastic experiences in the past with people doing past life regressions. Like, I just felt like I was making everything up. And I don't know about you, but have you ever heard people do past life regressions and they were always like Cleopatra and stuff? Or people who wanted to connect with their guides, but always their guide is, a Native American Indian or, something like that. And so for me, I couldn't connect to it. And I love going to things like, carnivals and fairs and, what do you call them? Like we have this big convention center in Melbourne and we have the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival there. And there are often people who do some of this inner work. And there are people who are artists, that can, apparently like draw your spirit guide or draw who you were in a past life. But all the drawings they have up in the booths are, like traditional, like everyone was Napoleon or everyone was Caesar, or do you know what I mean? Anyway, so I guess because I'd had all those past experiences, I just never really connected to it. But I'm very open, as you know. And this year, my study has taken like this completely different turn, which I'll share with you in a different episode. But it's taken this completely different turn. And anyway, as part of that, I've started to, be a bit more serious and try and experiment with these other kinds of connections. And so what's happened is, I decided, okay, I'm going to give this a go. I would like to see if I can connect to something or someone. And so the process that I did was I had a meditation that I downloaded, and it was called, something like connecting with your spirit guide. And so anyway, I've got this evening routine now where I meditate. I listen to guided meditations. I'm, still grasping that. I'm not great yet with doing an unguided one. So anyway, it was one night I was listening to this guided meditation about how to connect with a guide. And anyway, so I'm following all of the steps. And you know how it starts with an induction, and it's like, get really comfortable and take a few deep breaths. And you know how they get you to do that and relax and everything. And anyway, so I was following all of the instructions. And then the next instruction said that you were waiting in a room and you were just kind of like there and, soaking up the nice atmosphere of the room. And then your guide walks in. And so in my head, I like turn around to look at the door in this imaginary room that I'm in, and nobody walks through. And I remember like saying in my head, oh, this isn't going to work for me. Nobody's coming through. Like, why? And then I started to lose the momentum of the meditation because my ego got in the way, and I was like, how come everybody else can get a guide and I can't come? One can't come to me, and what's wrong with me? And what am I doing wrong? I'm following all the instructions. And anyway, so I didn't have a great experience, but then I know that you've got to give these things a few tries, right? And so I made a commitment to my intention of connecting with a guide or someone or something, and wanted to give it a few more goes before I gave up. So next night, do it again, same thing. Nobody comes through the door. The third night I do it, same thing, nobody comes through the door. And then on the fourth night, I was like, do I really want to put myself through this again? But I said that I did, like I just anchored into my intention. I was thinking about, why is it important to me to try this? And it was important because I want to be able to relate to clients I work with who have this experience. I want to be able to have this experience for myself because from what I understand from the courses and training I've taken and from the books I've read, I understand it can open up new wisdom for me, new insights for me, new perspectives for me. And I really want to access those. And I know that you can't always access that in your conscious mind. So I really focused on my intention, and it was with an open mind again and in a good mood. I turned on the recording again and I listened. And this time when it got to the part in the meditation where you wait for somebody to come through, I couldn't believe it, but somebody came through the door in my imagination. Somebody came through. And then anyway, I also knew that just to accept it and just to allow things to happen. So I didn't question anything. I was just like kind of holding my breath because, spiritually, because I wanted this to just unfold and I wanted to like be there but observe it at the same time. And anyway, this lady comes in and it was, I can't even describe the feeling to you really. It just kind of felt really easy. She walks in through the door's on my right. She walks in through the door. I'm sitting on a couch. There's a coffee table in between us. There's another couch on the other side of the coffee table. And she sits down there. And anyway, she's wearing this really faded, soft cotton dress. It comes like midway between her knee and her feet. She's got some little black shoes on. She's got like a half apron on, like a white half apron, and it's got some scalloped edges with like little embroidery around the edge. She's got black hair, and she looks like she's from maybe, I don't know, the 50s or the 60s. And she's got this black hair and it's really done so beautifully in the style of the day. And she's got these big black eyes. And anyway, I can't believe that she's sitting right in front of me and I kind of don't know what to do. And so I'm listening to the meditation and it says, ask your guide if, how long they've known you for and, why they're here and all of this. So I'm asking all these questions and nothing's coming through. But I tell myself that's okay. Maybe it's just going to take time and maybe we just need to sit here together first and pick up on each other's energy. And then the meditation suggests maybe sharing with a guide something that you're struggling with or feeling challenged with. And so I thought, okay, I can do that. So I shared something that I was struggling with. And then what happened was she leant over the coffee table and she just was like reassuring me. She just put her hand on my forearm, like in between my wrist and my elbow. And she just squeezed me gently and she smiled at me as if to say, everything is going to be fine. And anyway, I thought, wow. And then it was really lovely. And then she had to get up and go because we had to, the instruction on the meditation was like, no, you're going to say goodbye and all this. And so I just thought, no, I'm going to ask her what her name is. And so I asked her what her name was, and she didn't move her mouth. So she wasn't like looking like she was talking. If you're watching, you wouldn't see her talking. But in my head, I got the name Maya, Maya. And I'd never heard this name in my life, right? I've never heard this name in my life. And I'm questioning the name, I'm like, maybe she could have a different name. But no, you've got to stick with whatever comes through. And that's what popped in my head. So, okay, I'm going to stick with that. I say goodbye. And then, I spent a moment there just soaking up the nice energy of the place. And I come out of the meditation. Anyway, my mind's blown. I can't believe that, number one, I connected with somebody. I can't believe she was the way that she was. Because it's not who I would have expected to connect with. I mean, this lady, she looks like it looks to me like perhaps she cooks a lot. I got the feeling that she's been cooking, like she's been in a kitchen, like she's wiped her hands on her apron or on a tea towel before she came to see me. Like there's just that nice feeling about her of comfort. And anyway, and then like with the name, that was so surprising as well. So then I go back to my books and I go back to my course and I'm like trying now because now I've had this experience. I want to know what's the next step. And so the next step was you want to cultivate that relationship. So I thought, okay. And what that involves is, of course, going back to where you met that person and trying to have more conversations with them and things like that. So that's all good. And then what happens from there is the next day I listen to the meditation, I wait for Maya to come, Maya comes. And it is so nice because I see her in a different place now. So instead of seeing her in like what I'd imagined was a room, like a lounge room, now I'm seeing her in a completely different place. Like I've redecorated the lounge room and it's all, bohemian style. It's white with greenery everywhere and natural woods and, beautiful soft textures and reeds and, water jugs and, copper. And it's just like really beautiful. I'm loving it. And then it's so good because I'm just there in that space and then, I'm waiting for her to turn up. She turns up and then it was so nice because we just went and we had this big embrace and I just felt like so loved, which sounds weird because I know it's all happening in my head or it's happening energetically, but it was this feeling of love like I've never felt before. It's not like the love you get from, I don't know, from like, I want to say a real life person or it's just different, okay? You know how like a mother's love for her child is different to a mother's love for their pet is different to a mother's love for her partner? It's kind of like that. This is just a different type of love, but it was so blissful and I just felt so accepted and so welcome and so safe, and it was really beautiful because we got to have some conversations and I was able to like test the water a little bit and I was able to ask for some guidance around an issue that I was working on for the business. And yeah, she gave me the guidance. I came out of the meditation and I quickly wrote down the guidance and then I went and acted on it and embodied it. And would you believe, so my guidance was, what do I need to do to become more visible? at the moment because I haven't been doing as many videos on Facebook. Like, I'm a video addict. Normally I do like 3 or 4 a week, but over the last couple of months, I've just not felt in the mood to do them. And I don't want to show up if the vibe's not right because that will repel my audience. So I've recently batch recorded a bunch of videos, and I was in a great mood when I did them, and the vibe's really good. And so now they're set to go out. But I still wanted to get some guidance about what I could do for visibility. And so we did some manifestation work in the meditation. And then, I kid you not, like 2 days later, I was invited to be a presenter on an international webinar talking about integrating spirituality with psychology and private practice. Then out of the blue, I was offered an EAP contract. And then out of the blue, I was offered an opportunity to help recruit 30 psychologists for a big business in Australia that's based in the US. And then today, even I opened up my email and there was a request in there for me to be interviewed for a business platform talking about coaching and private practice and things like that. So all of these things happened within like 48 hours of me having this conversation with Maya. And now it's just been like, I have met with her now about, it's very early, okay, but I'm sharing this with you because I'm kind of excited and I kind of want to be transparent as well and let you know like what my experience has been, so that if you're thinking about connecting with a guide or something like that and you're not sure what the process looks like, I just want to share my experience. And I know my experience is going to be different perhaps, but I want you to know that you have to give it a few tries. You have to trust, you have to surrender, and then you have to keep going back. But here's the thing, like the last time I went back was yesterday, and again, like I just loved it. And the longer each time I go there, I spend more time there apparently. Like I'm not aware of it when I'm doing it, but when I come out and I look at the clock, like I'm spending a bit more time there each time. And it's just because it feels so good and I just love it so much. And I get all this insight that I never would have been able to access otherwise. And anyway, I think it could really become a great source of strength and guidance. And here's the thing, like I believe 100% that success in your private practice is not going to come from the external, right? It's not going to come from that 3D world. There's always going to be a place for you to use tools and for you to use strategies, of course. But honestly, that's like 20% of what's going to get you moving in the business. The rest comes from the inner work. And so I'm a big proponent of doing that sort of deeper work, looking at your beliefs, your stories and stuff like that. I think you need to go in first and dive really deeply and see what treasure you can find at the bottom of your sea and bring it up to the surface so that it can be explored and, stuff like that. And that's how you get ahead. And there are so many ways for you to get that inner guidance. And so intuition is one of those. Looking at your beliefs is one of those. Looking at your stories is one of those. Looking at your feelings, your behaviors, looking at alignment is one of those. All those things absolutely count and go into your toolbox for being successful in your private practice. But what I'm sharing with you today about my experience here with like connecting with a guide for the first time in my life, and I'm 46 years old, is it's just another tool that some of you who are listening might like to develop or cultivate for yourself if you're interested in this type of thing. And if you are, let me know and I can share with you my process in more detail. And yes, you can connect with me by by clicking on my email or my website, which I always put in the show notes for you. And then I did also tell you on Wednesday that I was going to tell you a little bit more about something else I've been working on that some of you may be interested in as well. And this is really cool because it's all about manifesting for your private practice. I know, how exciting is this? And so it's a 4-week mini course, if you like. It's a 4-week mini course. and it has 8 modules, and each of those modules sort of builds on the next one, if you like. And from there, you also are connected in a Facebook group with people who've already done it. So the program is in the final stages of beta testing at the moment, and it finishes in 2 weeks. And then it will be available. I think it's getting launched the 1st of November. So if you're interested in that, I will keep mentioning it in the next few episodes of the podcast, and when I've got a waiting page put together, which I don't right now, but I'll put a waiting list together. And so, I'd love for you guys who listen and subscribe to the podcast to get in first with that, because of course I will have a founding members rate, and I would like for you guys to be able to access that founding members rate, because it's going to be half the price of the normal rate, which will go to in January. So, it's so exciting. That's just what I wanted to share with you today. I guess the big message to take away is, there are many ways to do the inner work, and no one way is better than another. Second of all, the tools that you use to do the inner work and that you love and that you're passionate about and that are working for you today could change. And, you might decide that you do want to try something different in 6 months or 12 months. And that's okay too. You're constantly evolving and growing, as is your beautiful practice. And then third off, if something doesn't work the first time, that's okay. Just give it a few more chances to work and stick with it. And then once you've had a good experience with something, keep working with it, because you will get better and better and better at it. In this case, it just happened to be me connecting with a different type of energy, or me connecting with a guide, right? That's just one example of many examples. And it's no different to when we say we're connecting with our intuition, or a higher self, or a higher consciousness, or if you're into angels, maybe you're connecting with angels. It doesn't matter. It's all energy. We're just, how like you tune in your radio to like a particular radio station, but maybe when you're first trying to find that radio station, you go through the static first, and then maybe you go blip, and on that blip, you hear some music or something, and then it's back to static. And so then you've got to try and find the music again. That's kind of what it's like when you're tuning into that energy of your intuition, your inner guidance, your guides, or anything else that you might be trying to access on that energetic level, right? It's just you've got to match the frequency, and you get better at doing that with practice, okay? And everybody can do it. You don't have to be special or gifted or talented or chosen or anything like that. You just need to understand that there's a process, and you just have to keep, moving that dial until you match the frequency, because it's all there. It's all there, okay? Anyway, I hope you found this episode enjoyable. I know it wasn't too businessy today, was it? But it's a tool that you can absolutely use in your private practice, not when you're working with clients, but to help you plan for the practice perhaps, or solve or get insight into a challenge that you're experiencing with a private practice, or to get a different perspective on a challenge or something like that. So I hope this really helps you. I would love to hear what you thought. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast today. If you're looking for clarity, if you need help with branding, your processes, and bringing everything into alignment with your soul's purpose for your private practice, head to the show notes and click the link for more information about the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group. You are going to love it. I can't wait to see you in there. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.